I made a video yesterday that was titled Benoit Saint Denis is going to bulldoze Dustin Poirier, and I got a lot of criticism in the comments. A lot of people disagreed, and it's time for me to respond. I'm going to respond to some of the criticisms, some of the main arguments that people are using to disprove that Benoit Saint Denis can get past DP, namely the Justin Gaethje beating Fiziev argument, where all the lightweights, the new age lightweights, are getting beat. We also have the big jump up in competition argument. We have the, listen, man, this guy's resume ain't nothing special compared to DP, Hall of Famer DP argument as well. Woohoo! And I can't wait to destroy him. I can't wait to shut these down. This time, the old lightweight guard is not going to protect the realm, all right? Benoit Saint Denis is here. He's a different prospect than these other lightweights, and he may even be the most dominant lightweight prospect that we've seen based on fact and reality. So the first comment that I'm going to address is the classic Gaethje fraud check Fiziev, and everyone thought Fiziev was going to beat Gaethje. All right, so this guy says, I remember getting excited for Gaethje versus Fiziev, thinking that Fiziev would expose Gaethje's striking because Fiziev is an exceptional all-around striker. Same here. I thought Fiziev was going to go in there and beat Justin Gaethje. As we got closer to the fight, I didn't think it was going to be that dominant, but either way, I thought so too. It was a close fight, though. So you weren't totally wrong, but yeah, we were wrong to think that he would go in there and blow past him. For sure. Poirier is levels above anyone Benoit Saint Denis, this guy says. Everyone thought Gaethje was going to get battered by Fiziev. Okay, Fiziev is different than Benoit Saint Denis. Let me just put that out there and let me prove that to you right now. All right? Rafael Fiziev has been overrated for a long time. His power, it's not that crazy. His gas tank, it's pretty dog shit. And he's not that well-rounded when it comes to his offensive grappling. It's just simply not there. He has good takedown defense. He has good kicks. He goes, wah, 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 when he throws his kicks. But when you actually get down to the nitty-gritty, this guy isn't nearly as dominant as Benoit Saint Denis. And I'm going to prove that to you right now. And we're just going to look at Rafael Fiziev's record, and we're going to compare it to Benoit Saint Denis, okay? Let's look at this, guys. Let's look at why Rafael Fiziev is not nearly on the same level as Benoit Saint Denis. Lost to Magomed Mustafayev. Got knocked out. Okay, well, that's similar to the Benoit Saint Denis Aleski dos Santos fight. Elias Aleski dos Santos, I butchered the name. Who cares? It's similar. Both guys started the UFC with a loss. Now let's look at this. Alex White. You ever heard of Alex White? Because I sure don't remember him. Well, Rafael Fiziev went to a little scraper measly decision over him. Mark Jacasey. Fun fight. That's where Fiziev did that, the defensive move to get out of the way of the head kick, and he looked like he was in the Matrix. Decision. Okay? Just a decision. He knocks out Renato Moicano. That's Fiziev's big first early round finish. That's the big one where people really started to hype up Fiziev. Then he goes to a decision against Bobby Green. Okay? Then he goes and has a little tit-for-tat battle with Brad Riddell and finishes him at the end of the third round. He's not running through Brad Riddell. He had a good back and forth with him. Competitive fight. So he has a competitive fight with Bobby Green. A lot of people were saying Green got robbed. I disagree, but Green took a round off of him. Fiziev gassed out. He didn't dominate the fight. He has a competitive fight with Brad Riddell. He's going to a decision with Mark Jacasey. He's going to a decision with Alex White. And he's going 5 rounds with Rafael dos Santos and having a somewhat competitive fight and knocking him out at the end of the fight. So this is by no means running through people. We have 4 decisions basically on here. I mean 3, but a bunch of competitive fights. Every single one of these fights is competitive except for the Renato Moicano fight. Every one. So this is not some guy that's just bulldozing people in the lightweight division. All right? And you're bringing up, well, it's against Bobby Green, the King Green, and it's against Renato Moicano, and it's against Brad Riddell, better levels of competition. Dude, Benoit Saint Denis would kick Brad Riddell's head into orbit. Benoit Saint Denis would take Bobby Green down and finish him in the first round on the ground. Like, he would do these guys dirty. Now I'm going to show you Benoit Saint Denis's record, and I'm going to compare it to Khabib. All right? We're going to look at who's the most dominant lightweight prospect. We're going to find that out. You guys are comparing him to Rafael Fiziev. We're talking about a different guy here. We're talking about a different guy. We're not talking about someone that gasses out and goes to a decision with Bobby Green. We're not talking about someone that goes to a decision with Alex White. Okay, now let's look at Benoit Saint Denis's record. And this just goes to show that Fiziev and Benoit, they're not the same. Let's go on. Nicholas Stolze, submits him in the second round, dominates Nicholas Stolze. That's after he lost to Aleksei Dos Santos, okay? If you guys don't remember, Aleksei Dos Santos beat the shit out of Benoit Saint Denis in 2021. He took a year off, or almost a year. He comes back. He resorts to his grappling, showcasing his bread and butter. He's making improvements. Submits him in the second round. Gabriel Miranda, 3 knockdowns over Gabriel Miranda. Totally annihilates this guy. Again, knocks him the fuck out. Knocks him down 3 times. Runs through him. Maybe not the best level of competition, but he's not going to a decision like Rafael Fiziev went to with Alex White. Then he fights the hyped-up prospect Ismail Bonfim. Runs through him in the first round. Body kicks him, takes him down, submits him with ease. Thiago Moises runs through Thiago Moises. Breaks him in the first round. In the second, he's a sitting duck, waiting to get finished, wilting, quitting, can't keep up with the pressure. Unlike Rafael Fiziev, gassing out in a decision with Bobby Green. Thiago Moises beat Bobby Green, by the way. Close fight, but that's not the point. Knocks out Matt Frevola in the first round. So you have Rafael Fiziev, who has all these competitive fights, decisions, even in the fights where he's knocking people out in the later rounds. They're close, they're competitive. Benoit Saint Denis isn't having close fights. None of these are competitive in the slightest, and he's not just knocking guys out with one punch. He's taking guys down and systematically breaking them on the ground. He's pushing a pace on guys that's breaking them and making them wilt. All right? Similar to Khabib. This is not just a puncher's chance type of win that we're seeing every now and then. Now I'm going to compare Benoit Saint Denis and him running through people to the great Khabib. All right? So let's just do a moment of silence because, of course, the Khabib fans are going to get upset that I'm comparing anyone to him. Almighty Khabib. All right, God forbid anyone gets compared to him. I'm not saying Benoit's better. I'm not saying Benoit is going to go down as a better fighter. I'm just proving the point that he's more dominant than Arman was, than Gamrot was, than Turner was, and that Rafael Fiziev was, and more dominant than Khabib was. Okay, different fight styles, but more dominant. Let's look into this. Again, whoa, almighty Khabib. Whoa, we're going to talk about him. Let's get down to it. Khabib Nurmagomedov beats Kamal Shalris by rear naked choke in the second round. Then he goes to a decision against Gleison Tibau. A decision. A lot of people thought he lost that fight, but it is what it is. Everyone has one of those fights. Benoit Saint Denis had the Aleksei Dos Santos fight. Then he beats Thiago Alves, knocks him out in the first round. Excellent win for Khabib. Abel Trujillo, decision. Took him down a bunch of times, but didn't run through him. Didn't hurt him that badly. Just took him down and just kind of hugged him and brought him to the mat a bunch of times. Still a good win for Khabib, but not running through somebody. And again, we're talking about Abel Trujillo. Pat Healy, he goes to a decision with Pat Healy. Again, the all-time great Pat Healy. Put some respect on his name. Khabib's going to a decision with him. Rafael Dos Anjos takes a big step up in competition and goes to a decision. I know this is before RDA became a champion. All right? It's a good win for Khabib. It's a good opponent. RDA was real good back then, but at the same time, another decision. Then he beats Darrell Horcher, dominates him. He dominates Michael Johnson. He dominates Edson Barboza. So now Khabib's in his prime, and he goes to a decision against Ali Quinta. And then he dominates, he does dominate Gagey, Poirier, and Connor. Really good wins. Excellent wins. But you get my point. Khabib is one of the most dominant fighters the world's ever known. He always gets talked about as being one of the most dominant fighters ever. He's having rounds where, they're going tit for tat, and he's out here, and he's taking people down, and he's slowing it down, different style. But Benoit Saint Denis is running through people with skill, breaking them on the ground, passing their guard, tying them up, bullying them, submitting them. That's a wrap. This is not Ngannou going out there big winging hooks and knocking people out with a puncher's chance. Okay? So yes, Benoit Saint Denis is more dominant so far in his career than the great Khabib was. All right? Relax. Okay? Relax. And then the last type of argument that I'm going to address is the big step up in competition argument. So this guy says, bro beat the number 14 ranked guy, and now he's the lightweight GOAT. That's not what I think. I just think that Benoit Saint Denis is a really tough step up in competition for DP. Yeah, how about that one? I think that Benoit Saint Denis is just a tough matchup for Poirier. If you just go on history, Poirier struggles with the guys that are mixing in the takedowns, that have a good gas tank. He got his ass handed to him by Michael Chandler in the second round. All right. He lost to Oliveira, got gassed out with the grappling, got gassed out by Khabib with the grappling after the first round. It's just a tough matchup for him. But I understand the idea that it's a big bump up in competition. And when we've seen guys like Peter Yan fight O'Malley, O'Malley has the toughest fight of his life. When we see Khamzat Chimaev fighting Burns, he has the toughest fight of his life with Burns. All right, when they go up and face the top 5 guys. But once again, stylistically, it's an issue for DP. People are talking about this like, I just think DP's going to outbox him. Well, no shit. Dustin Poirier's going to outbox pretty much everyone in that division. Justin Gaethje didn't outbox him that much. He just head kicked him. All right, he landed some good shots and he did well. I don't think that Benoit is some expert when it comes to the striking. I just think the threat of the takedown makes him all that much more dangerous, combined with the granite chin and the power. He's going in there to take Poirier down. This is not an unwritten rules bout where both guys have agreed to just stand with each other. No, right? Poirier is going to get taken down and get broken. And, again, to address the idea that it's a big bump up in competition, dude, like, what are we talking about? Oliveira fought Kevin Lee 2 fights before he fought for the belt. He beat Kevin Lee and an old washed-up Tony Ferguson before he got the belt. We're talking about the best lightweight ever, arguably. Or maybe not the best ever, but like the second or third best lightweight to ever do it. He beats Kevin Lee. Before that, he was beating guys like Jim Miller, and I know Jim Miller's still all right, but this is not by any means a top 5 guy. Okay? Look at Charles Oliveira's wins before he fights Michael Chandler. They're not that special. Tony Ferguson, again, post Justin Gaethje Tony Ferguson. Tony was declining before the Gaethje fight. I don't think these are like gods that he's running through. These guys aren't built differently than the people that Benoit is running through. Kevin Lee, I know he just beat Gregor Gillespie, and he was coming off of a good win. He had momentum, but Kevin Lee was getting beat by Ally Quinta. He's never been that great. Okay, maybe a couple of years prior to fighting Oliveira, he was a little bit of a different guy, but he still is Kevin Lee. All right? And then, of course, Oliveira fights Dustin Poirier 2 fights later, and he beats him. Gives him an issue with the grappling. People were talking about how Oliveira is super defensively irresponsible. He's going to get hit. If Chandler hurt him, imagine what Poirier's going to do. And then Oliveira gets in his face, scraps with him, gets dropped, but in the second round, dominates him in the grappling and submits him easily in the third. Okay? Khabib dominated Dustin Poirier mixing in the grappling. And he doesn't have the threat of knocking people out on the feet like Benoit does. All right. Michael Chandler. Low IQ Mike. Chinny old Michael Chandler. Beat Dustin Poirier's ass in the second round. We know Chandler doesn't have a good gas tank. Okay? I think that Benoit Saint Denis is going to be able to do Poirier dirty. All right? I think he is. And then this guy says, when's the last time the number 13 fought the number 3? Well, it's happened before. O'Malley's done it, and he beat Petr Yan. Okay? You can get these wins. And O'Malley versus Petr Yan, that's actually a tough stylistic matchup for O'Malley. That's one of the best boxers in the game, Petr Yan, who has insane durability. And O'Malley can't exactly go out there and take him down like Benoit has the ability to do to Dustin Poirier, because Petr Yan's the better grappler. Petr Yan has the great takedown defense. I'm telling you right now, if you guys think this is just some boxing match, you're in for a rude awakening. I think that Benoit is going to knock Poirier out on the feet after grappling with him, after tiring him out, or he's just going to take him down and dismantle him. Okay? We're talking about jumps up in competition. Oliveira is beating Kevin Lee a couple of fights before he beats Dustin Poirier. All right? Who's in between that? Oh, yeah, but he had fights in between it. Oh, yeah, Tony Ferguson. Chinny Michael Chandler. All right, let's keep it real about Michael Chandler. You guys on one hand will call Michael Chandler the GOAT for this conversation. It's still Chandler, dude. That's one of the GOATs. Yeah. When Chandler's beating Poirier's ass in the second round and getting in his face, Chinny Mike, beating him up in the first, it's Hall of Famer Michael Chandler. But when I talk about Chandler running through Conor McGregor, you guys say he's Chinny and he's not that good and he's been washed up for years. So which one is it? When it suits people the most, Michael Chandler is the GOAT. When it comes to Conor McGregor, washed up the addict Conor beats him. Make it make sense. All right. Yeah. Benoit's going to be able to take this bump up in competition. Stylistically, tough fight for DP. He's going to get broken with the grappling. It is what it is. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, I'm just addressing The arguments that I've been seeing, he's a different fighter than Fiziev. He's been more dominant than any lightweight prospect. He's well-rounded. There's hardly anything he doesn't have in his game, and he doesn't get his hit as much as people like to think. Watch his fights back and tell me that he's getting hit that often. He's not. All right? Until next time.